what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. We are back for another video. Just wanted to say shout out to all my subscribers. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to all the positive comments that I've been seeing at the bottom. A lot of people have been asking different questions, people chiming in and just helping each other out. That's kind of what this channel is all about. So I just wanted to say thank you to y'all. It's been a while since I put a video out. Yes, I've been thinking about what I wanted to do next. Most importantly, trying to save and also enjoying the car. You know, just kind of there comes a time where you kind of have to just take a step back a little bit from modifying and just, you know, just enjoy the car as it is. And I've been doing that, no issues whatsoever. So today we have a new product from PRL Motorsports. It is the P600. If you guys are wondering what's in the box, it's what's in the box that's sitting right in front of me here. I just wanted to say shout out to Corey from Two-Step Performance. Super quick shipping, really nice dude. Definitely hooked me up on this turbo, so I could not say thank you enough. Thank you a lot if you're watching this. But yeah, I'm super excited to throw this on. The reason why I didn't have this on earlier was because earlier this year I started having some issues with my fuel system again. It turns out that my low fuel pump went out on me, but it took a while to get to that process to figure out that it was the low fuel pump. Obviously, a lot of different things that I had to go through before I realized it was the low fuel pump. So kind of thumbs down on Honda for that one, because I feel like if you have a product and barely lasts a year and you cannot replace, you know, $200 product for free after you pay, you know, about $3 grand for the entire system, I think that's kind of terrible customer service, if you ask me, in my opinion. So my current low fuel pump is from Dutch Works. It's been working great so far. Ever since then, I have not had any issues with my fuel system, and so I decided that I think it was finally time to go ahead and slap this bad boy on and see where we can go from there. So without further ado, let's get into what's in the box. This is the box. This is the first time I'm actually opening this. Got the nice little sticker from PRL. Very well protected, nice packaging. This is the box that has all of, basically has like the gaskets, the bolts, and all that good stuff that goes with the turbo. I think these are like the drilling studs. I'm not sure where these go yet, but I think these studs have to go in the turbo, because I think the old ones from the turbo don't actually come out, so you might have to put these studs in. If you can kind of picture like the studs that go like the downpipe connects to, I don't think you can remove them. I think you can, but in the event that you want to use the turbo again, talking about the old turbo, it might be a little bit of a pain trying to put it back. So PRL did really good. I'm just giving you brand new studs, and you just gotta use your stud drill and put it back in the new turbo. That way you have your downpipe bolts hanging. These are the brackets, or the little gaskets, so to speak. Let's see on this one. Oh yeah, you got more gaskets in this. These are the bigger gaskets. And let's see what's in this one. Oh yeah, and these are the bigger gaskets that actually go on the turbo itself. So pretty nice stuff. I like that they actually give you all of the stuff that you need, just in case you lose something, or you know, if you don't want to reuse the old stuff, which I would highly recommend not reusing the old stuff. I personally will not be reusing the old stuff. I'm just gonna throw all the new stuff on there. So yeah, super excited. Another part that you guys are waiting for is, ooh, we want to see the turbo. So here we go. This is the bad boy that you guys have been waiting for, and I think it should be good as far as, you know, things that need to come off. Not sure if you can get this from the top here or from the bottom, but we'll see. And outside of that, the turbo literally just sits right here. So these 4 bolts need to come out. Get those 4 bolts out. I wouldn't even mess with this wastegate actuator, so I just leave the wastegate on there until I take out the turbo, and then I will go ahead and work my way through. And there should be, yeah. And then at the very bottom, you gotta disconnect that at the bottom right here. if you guys can see it, that's one of your pipes. I think that is that the shorter one? Yeah, that is the shorter one from your intercooler. I believe that's the one for the heat. So I can easily undo this from the bottom. I actually got really good clamps from 271. I got that. So disconnect that bottom, and I think after that the turbo should be good to come out. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing this one after the other, and I'll keep you guys updated. But this is everything on the ground. These elbow inlets, they can be quite painful when you're doing them. The left side is easier to get to. They are 12mm bolts, but the right side can be a little bit of a pain because it hides under in that corner right there, and it's kind of difficult, you know, getting stuff under. So be creative, take your time. I unplugged the wastegate connector right here to give me some more room, and obviously you got to get these 10mm bolts that hold this bracket in place to the elbow out, and you should be able to work your way through that. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on how that works. I have a new race math coming in, so I'm actually I probably should have just taken this out, but I'm gonna have to replace this anyway. So I gotta replace this, and I gotta replace the little rubber seal that goes on there because I have a race math coming in. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on getting the turbo out, and I'll keep you guys updated. Alrighty guys, so I wanted to give you guys a quick update of what I've done so far. So I personally like to mess with the lines first, just because they're usually a pain to get out. So that's the coolant line right there, pinched already. So right here, this is your main coolant line. Probably best to pinch like that line runs directly from the coolant reservoir. My clamp is upside down for whatever reason, guys. That is the main coolant line. If you don't, or what's it called, pinch the main coolant that runs directly from the reservoir, you are going to have a bunch of coolant juice drain through from there. So yeah, that needs to come to the line. The charge pipe at the bottom has been loose already. That red reflection right there, that is the charge pipe. I couldn't get it out completely, but I figured I could, whenever I get the actual turbo out, good lord, I can't speak today, I can wiggle it side to side and get it out. The other part is there was a bracket right here. I probably should have taken the video before I took out the bracket, but there are two 14mm bolts that hold the bracket in place. If you guys can see that hole right there, and then there is another one kind of like angled to the left. It's pretty easy to get out. This is the bracket right here on the floor, and these are the two 14mm bolts. So the bracket, if I can get this back, the bracket sits like that. So this part goes in, and then this one kind of like goes to the left hand side. But yeah, that's it. Oh, also the bypass valve. I took out the bypass valve right here. That is the part that you want to get out. Don't need to click that or anything, but be extremely careful with this. And I guess apparently you're supposed to look at the pattern. This would actually focus. I guess you're supposed to look at the pattern because there's like this white dots, and they're supposed to align when you put them back. Not sure, but there's just something to note when you're doing that. So yeah, I think I'm down to these 4 bolts right now holding the turbo in place. And yeah, that should be it. I'm hoping that maybe I can kind of, I guess, wiggle the turbo to where I can at least get some extension over here to kind of twist that clamp and get it out. If not, I have to figure out how to get that out. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm gonna do some work and come back. Alrighty guys, so next thing I took out was the banjo fitting right here. This top one is a 14mm, and then the one that bolts to the crankcase at the bottom over there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like at the bottom of, if I pull this up right now, you guys would see it. So this is a 10mm that bolts to the crankcase down there. And yeah, this one is a 14 millimeter at the top. So I took that out because if you don't take it out, it's hard to unscrew this bolt right here. So I just took that out so I can unscrew the bolt, and then we'll get going. Alright guys, so this is what I mean by you wouldn't have clearance. So if that bolt was still there, so you guys can see where the ratchet is sitting, this is just a regular 3/4 ratchet and a deep socket 14. That's what I'm using. If you pull towards you gently, as you guys can see, I kind of soaked this with some what's it called, all-purpose lubricant. I didn't use PB Blaster because I think I was out of that. So I just sprayed in. It was sitting for about an hour or so, but the bolts are coming off, you know, relatively easy. But you just got to be careful, take your time, pull towards you, use some leverage and whatnot. You should be good to go. So same thing on this side, you know, that deep socket 10 millimeter comes super handy. So, but yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that. Update, as you guys can see, the turbo is pretty much ready to come out. There are two things holding this turbo in place right now. One is this stupid that main coolant line right there is the only thing holding it. Bottom is basically the charge pipe that's connected to the turbo. So I'm gonna go to the store and see if I can find some angled needle nose plier, because I thought maybe if I wiggle the turbo a little bit I would have some room to get under, but I don't. So yeah, story of my life. So I'll be back. Alrighty guys, so the turbo is out. Look at that. So a few things I wanted to point out. Remember, all of the lines that are here, they're actually your coolant lines. And so the best way to do this is, you guys can see I got coolant like spilled all over because I didn't realize it was gonna come out. Best thing to do, I recommend just draining your coolant before you do this. Just drain your coolant before you do this. All of these lines, like, you know, this line right here, there's this line here, there is also this small little line that goes right under here. Yeah, those three lines, and then this is just a regular, I think this might be the actual all return line back here, but there was no L that came out. So those are the lines that you got to get out. Outside of that, it was pretty easy to get out, except for, yeah, that one clip that I struggled with. So with that being said, I took the turbo out. Should be clean as a whistle in here, super clean. And this thing is old, it's like super rusted and whatnot. But anyway, this is the old turbo. Gonna get the new one out so we can do some comparison, and then we're gonna start transferring basically all these parts. They have to go on the new one. The only thing is you don't take out the studs. PRL gives you studs. I think I mentioned that in the beginning. I actually have some fancy ones that I got from a friend that I'm going to use. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty guys, so I wanted to give you guys a visual of like the old turbo with all the parts. This is it right here, and kind of give you guys a visual of, like, you know, the coolant lines that need to come off again. So this is the short coolant line that's kind of like towards the bottom on the left hand side. This is the main coolant line that runs in here, and this is your bypass valve. Be careful with this bypass valve because apparently these things kind of rip off like super easy, so be very careful with it. And then of course you have your top coolant line, which is this one, right, which is the very first one that you pinch so it doesn't come out. So yeah, this is pretty much how the entire turbo comes out, just to give you guys a visual. Man, that thing is black in there, good lord, it needs some help. But yeah, this is pretty much it. This is the P600. Just a few things about this. Obviously it's a bigger compressor wheel than the previous stock one. I guess the big difference between this and the P700 is the inducer and the exducer. I think he was like 57 and 71 on the P600 700, and then this is a 54 and 68 if I remember correctly. Right, so the pressure and that stuff. So yeah, that's the other thing on that. Is just the size of the wastegate, the size of like the inducer and exducer. But overall, like the overall size of the turbo is still the same. Just making sure it actually fits. That's just the major difference. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and start transferring stuff from here to here. Try to have a clean workspace of just transferring things over. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is to transfer this compressor outlet right here. This one, I'm gonna transfer it over to the bottom here. The main thing I want to say is just note the positions of these gaskets. I will not be reusing the old gasket because PR gives you some new ones in these. So make sure you use the new ones for the gasket. So I'm going to be transferring this and putting that over here, guys. So I just transferred that over. As you guys can see, note the orientation. Note that the screw comes out here for this one, but the other side does not have one, and I already torqued these down to 18 pounds. The second part is the oil transfer hose, so the oil return hose, whatever you want to call it. There are two, I think these are 10 millimeters. These two 10 millimeters. I'm gonna transfer these over to the bottom side over there. So alright guys, so really quick, this did not come with a gasket, this the oil return line. So make sure when you take out the old one from here, the gasket kind of sticks to it, so just be cognizant of that, and don't bend it or break it. I mean, if you do, probably just have to request one from PRL, but reuse the old gasket from this one. Alright guys, so as you guys can see, that is done. The next part is to install the studs for the coolant line that goes here. Again, you can try to get the old one out from here. I would not recommend that, just in case you got to reuse the turbo. From what I've heard, a lot of people, when they try to take out the studs, it comes out a little bit and then it just stops coming out, so you just end up like ruining it for yourself. But PRL gives you these. They come in like the package. So these two studs, you tighten them down with the Allen keys. Don't over tighten them, just, you know, get the studs in there, and then we can take out the bolts, the two bolts from here, and then use it to replace the coolant line. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Alright guys, so I lied. There was actually a gasket for the, what was this part again? That's the, for the oil return line, there was actually a gasket provided by PRL. It's in a small pack that has these things in them. So make sure you use the new gasket and not reuse the old one. There is also the new gasket for the top coolant line as well, so make sure you reuse that. Make sure you use the new one as well. So you guys can see, I have these transferred. I'm transferring the hoses right now. One thing I will say is, with the hoses, they have like these white dots. Make sure you kind of pay attention to those. It's so when you're reinstalling these, because it also has another one at the bottom, it's so when you reinstall these, they don't get twisted. Because if they do, then there's some type of blockage, and apparently these things throw like stupid codes and whatnot. So watch the alignment. I will say, so I have this turbo placed exactly the same way as the new one, so I kind of know exactly where the orientation is supposed to be. That might be the easiest way to do it. It's just literally take it out one after the other and transfer it. So be meticulous when you're putting this back on there. Make sure everything is good to go. That's kind of like the best advice that I can give. So alrighty guys, so I got the hoses transferred for the most part, so we're almost done transferring everything over here. I think the last thing is this, the wastegate to get transferred. So this is a 3mm hex that goes on this one. The instruction that I have says it's 4, but I'm not sure, maybe mine is just different, but reuse the new ones that PRL gives you. I think these may be 4, maybe that's what the instruction was talking about. So you don't need to reuse these screws. Use the new one, and then you're also going to use this new clip for the
the harness right here. So that's what I'm doing right now, and then I'll be back. All right guys, so I wanted to show you guys really quick how to get this wastegate out completely. So the 4 screws over here, obviously get those out, and for this little clip over here, what I did was I used a needle nose plier, put this on top while you simultaneously just tap it out in the back. Just a little tap gently kind of pulls it out, and then you just keep tapping and tapping, and it should eventually come out. Careful when you pull this, sometimes it could like just snap out, so just wanted to show you guys how you get that out. Transferring this over, PRL actually uses a zip tie to hold this in place for you, so you know exactly where the wastegate position is supposed to be, so people are not doing crazy stuff. I think that's really nice to know. So basically you just, you know, feed this through back and put it on top, and then it already has the hole for like the clamp over there, and that's it. Alrighty guys, so reinstalling the wastegate, the best way I found to reinstall this is for you to get the 4 screws on this side completely. Make sure you note the orientation of where the harness is going to plug into. There is sort of kind of only one way that this is actually going to fit and align and go in completely, and don't worry about this part until you tighten this, because I was trying to fit it with this part without tightening this, and it was just pushing it out. So what you do is you push out the wastegate a little bit itself, and then you let the actuator meet the wastegate in the middle, and it looks just like that. So now I'm just gonna put the cutter pin in there, and we should be good to go. So if you guys can see that. Alright guys, so sorry for the little bit of mess on the table, but that is about everything that needs to get transferred over from the old to the new. As you guys can see, we pretty much stripped out the old turbo with everything, all done. Don't see anything that I'm missing in particular, so we should be good. And this is, you know, the new turbo, everything is on there. The next part is to basically take this back in the car and start plugging things back. But before I do that, I actually need to clean the coolant. I need to clean around the car, just make sure I check for like the coolant that was spilled, make sure nothing is still left down there, and then I'm gonna start reinstalling this back in the car. So alright guys, so there was something I forgot before you put this back in the car, which is basically reinstalling the studs for the downpipe. As you guys can see, the outward facing one, the OE one has like these drilled into them, but again, not really using those. I got these fancy ones from, man, I can't remember where he told me he got them from, but this is what I'm going to be using. But these come with PRL that you can use. It is the same length, the same concept. I don't have a stud driver, but the perk of having one of these is that he's got the Allen key that I can use to drive this inside and make it tight. So that's why I'm using that instead. But if you don't have one of those, I'd have to remember where I got these from exactly, but they are for the downpipe, exact same size, they fit perfectly. But if you don't have those, PR gives you these to use. So alright guys, so a few things I wanted to kind of let you guys know, and I still got some coolant on here to clean, but the big turbo is back in. As you guys can see, it goes in a lot easier than the stock one. And these are my downpipe bolts that I have over there. This is the banjo fitting that we talked about, and so these require 2 washers that are over here. If I can grab them real quick. Yeah, so PR gives you these 2 washers right here, if you guys can see them. One goes below the turbo, so one goes under and then the other one goes on top, so it goes like you pick this up and then you put one under and then you put one on top. Make sure you use both of them. It's just a replacement for the old one. One thing I wanted to say is when you put this back, do a mock fitment. Make sure everything kind of aligns properly. Like for instance, for me, when I put this back in, the wastegate actuator was, the harness was facing inward this way, so I had to take it back out, take out the wastegate and just rotate it and put it back in correctly. So definitely mock for fitment. make sure that charge pipe over there is actually facing where you want it to. That's also another part that could potentially be twisted. And then I think that's really it. There is a small coolant hose at the bottom. That one is a little bit of a pain, so kind of wiggle your way around that. But other than that, yeah, just, you know, mark for fitment before you start tightening stuff down. I personally started with all of the coolant lines first that connect to the turbo, just so I make sure I don't miss anyone. And then I'm gonna go at the bottom now and start finishing stuff up. So yeah. Alrighty guys, so as you guys can tell, I got everything put back together. I do need some coolant. If you guys can see the line over there, I'm kind of low on that, but yeah, I got everything put back together. I have the race math installed. That thing is a big boy. It definitely looks a lot bigger than the other math. So yeah, hopefully moment of truth, we're about to find out if I did everything correctly or not. I'm going to fill this up with coolant right now, and then we're gonna go in the car and we're gonna get it started. Oh, one more thing. So apparently this is just as good as the OEM coolant, because I actually ran out of OEM coolant while I was filling that up, and I asked a friend and he was like, yeah, I'll go get one of these. It's just as good as the OEM one. So yeah, I'm gonna be trying this, mix it up, see how it goes. Alrighty guys, so lowering the car right now. We are about to get that first start up. I'm super excited, but I'm also nervous. I don't know, you never know what could possibly go wrong, right? So here we are. Whew, this is gonna be rough. All right, moment of truth. Oh, everything looks good so far. For is I just want to come here and make sure like I'm not smelling any weird stuff. I already did my visual test, but basically you want to like look in the engine bay, make sure you're not seeing like any kind of leaks or anything like that, most especially from those tiny coolant lines. You want to make sure that you didn't accidentally, like, you know, punch a hole in them or something, and make sure everything is good to go. And then also, I'm also checking my oil pressure as it is idling. I don't know if you guys can see it. Currently sitting at 2.26 bar, which is again relatively normal. Everything seems to be normal right now, so we're just gonna leave it like that. When it's done idling, then I'm gonna go into Hunt Data and just kind of throw like a bass tune, give it like a short drive, nothing crazy, just want to make sure everything is running normally, and then bring it back, and then I'll talk to my tuner and see what we're gonna do. But yeah, absolutely, that's about it. Again, I highly recommend letting the car sit for a little bit. Just get all the fluids going, check your coolant level. Absolutely, if you lost all of your coolant, mine went down, so I'm gonna have to fill it back up again. But yeah, check your coolant level. Also check it in the car, make sure the car is not overheating in like the 30 minutes that it's just sitting there, and then you should be good to go. So yeah, with that being said, that's the end of the video. Hopefully I made this somewhat helpful for you guys. If you guys got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Other than that, JB Stark Industries is out.